Hey, 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 and welcome to the Weed Out. We weed out the bullshit and talk about the nonsense happening in our backyard. My name is Spencer Fox Peterson. I'm with my co-host.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Joanna May Booty.
Thank you so much. And Joanna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Really good. Really excited to have our guests on today. Um, we have our guests, fellow comrades from Western Massachusetts, Demilitarize Western Mass. They're a collective of anti-war, anti-imperialist, abolitionist activists confronting the military-industrial complex via education, advocacy, and direct action.
That's why I was feeling so great because I'm really excited they're here.
So, Joanna, could you please introduce our guests? That would be great.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking to two of the members of the Militarized Western Mass, and I'm sure they're organizers and they'll tell us so much more about all that they do. But their names are Fergus and Clara, and I'm just so excited to dig in and find out. So we follow you on Instagram, and we saw there was some direct action recently. And I know Spence will have some questions, but welcome to both of you. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. Excited to be here.
So yeah, I guess tell us, first of all, who is Demilitarized Western Mass and how long have you guys been around?
Clara, I'll let you,
Um,
because I'm fairly new to Demilitarize Western Mass.
yeah. Um, I don't feel like I could tell you with complete certainty what year it started, but I want to say it was 2018. Could be wrong, but somewhere around there. Um, and yeah, in general, it's like a few handful, a dozen-ish of us that yeah, have really focused our efforts on L3 Harris, the weapons manufacturing plant in Northampton, and yeah, have just been trying to spread awareness as well as do what we can to let L3 know that we're not super okay with what they do. Yeah.
So, everybody at home in Northampton, Massachusetts, right up the road from me, and I actually work in Northampton. So, I actually lived right down the street from this facility. It's called L3 Harris. Um, Apparently, it's a weapons manufacturing facility. It looks like a new age architectural firm on the outside for everybody playing at home. So it's pretty unassuming in a way. And just wider note, there's a lot of military contracts that supply the economy in Western Mass. Westfield has a ton of military contracts. I know a guy that works at a machine shop. They have work cut out for them for the next 30 years. They have contracts for the next 30 years, and they like make bolts for like submarine hulls or something. I don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of contracts out here. There's a lot of big money, and so y'all specifically did a direct action against L3 Harris a week ago. So what day was that on?
You want to take that one, Fergus?
Sure, it was last Thursday,
Okay.
and it was early morning action. We arrived there around 5:45 and blocked two of their gates.
So this would be Thursday, October 19th. For anybody at
It
home,
was on the 12th,
oh, it was on the
just
12th.
to pop in. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
Time is weird. No, you're good.
Trying to do math. Anyways, so this happened on October 12th. The shoestring for anybody at home covered this action, so we'll link that in the website notes, so you can get some other perspectives and the story, more of a direct journalistic story from it. And so thank you guys very much for coming on, and tell us how it went. Like what you blockaded the entrances so people couldn't show up to work that day.
Yeah, I think the goals were a few things, but I think some of them were to do some work stoppage. So just to do what we could to interfere with some of the exorbitant profits that L3 is making every day. And yeah, we made sure that the workers were still able to get in and out of the building. And so they probably had a, I don't know, hour and a half delay or so. During which time we had coffee and donuts for them, wanted to make sure that they weren't personally feeling targeted, but yeah, we're just trying to interfere with actual the work that happens at L3 and the violence that it contributes to. And then I think the other piece was just really increasing visibility, because like you said, it's a really assuming space. They've done a really excellent job at flying under the radar. And so I think it was just important for us to disrupt their ability to fly under the radar, and just to make sure that as many folks as possible have more information about what's going on there. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Fergus.
Yeah, no, I think you covered that. I just want to add, though, that for every one car that drove by, we educated them as to that there's something really going on at this place and they need to pay attention. And I think few people in the area really know what happens at L3 Harris. I only found out about this, I think, 3 years ago, and I was shocked to know that this facility existed right there. And correct me if I'm wrong, Carol, is it the 7th or is it the 8th largest defense contractor in the country?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely the 7th. I forget if that's the country or the world. I can Google it.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of those two. It's huge.
But that is huge. And the thing that really blows my mind is that these facilities exist in every state in our country. There are many of them. I have no idea how many there are in Massachusetts, but there are many of them. And I think that when these facilities go into a city or into a town, it draws workers in, and once they're embedded in these places, they have to buy in to this war machine, and I cannot believe that they can feel good about it. So I have a feeling that it really can reap havoc in the social fabric of our society. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Clara?
Just for the sake of fact checking, it's the 9th biggest in the world. 9th biggest weapons contractor in the world.
Thanks
and
for
that's by
checking,
dollars spent, or what is that?
I do not have that part.
What do they do? This is kind of it's not super important, but what do they produce? A hodgepodge of things, or
they produce all kinds of things. That plant specifically specializes in lenses and optics technology, and so they're like best known for making periscopes for subs, including the nuclear subs that L3 helps make. But yeah, that kind of like lens technology is quite likely also used in things like drones. In they have contracts with both ICE, Customs and Border Patrol, and the Israeli IDF that's used for checkpoint surveillance for people trying to migrate across man-made borders. And so that's what the plant in Northampton is working on. But L3 Harris in general does all kinds of things. It has contracts with every single branch of the military, plus some other people outside of the military. They've made surveillance technology for US cops. That's like a cell phone technology that tricks your phone into thinking that the cop's phone is a satellite. So any text or messages you send go to the cop's phone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stingray?
Yeah.
I'm
So
convinced
they're
there's a
terrible.
Stingray on 91 North between Holyoke and Northampton. I'm pretty sure there's a Stingray, just so everybody knows, because everybody loses service and there's no reason you should lose service. But it says you have 5 bars of 5G. So basically the Stingray sets out a false antenna signal, and then they're harvesting your, pingable data Not exactly sure all the data there, but definitely geolocation, all that shit. That your phone's sending out constantly looking for a tower. Yeah. So that's some pretty gross technology. Super invasive.
And all of it sounds that way, really. So I'm thankful that our audience gets to know if they didn't already know. I think Fergus's point about not knowing that this might be in your state. I think it's really important for the audience to know that these types of weapons and technologies are manufactured in our backyard. And there are also manufacturers, like Spencer mentioned, in other parts of Massachusetts too, even as far out as the Berkshires. So were you all planning this because of the situation in Israel and or in Gaza, in my opinion? But was this something that you had been planning for a while and the situation kind of spurred an action? Yeah.
The latter. Yeah. Yeah, we put a good chunk of time into kind of like, this is the first direct action that we had done in a group. And so I think it was a real process of like building up our skills and, recruiting to find the missing roles and, materially preparing. There's a lot of stuff we had to source. And so this had been in the works for a long time, and we picked this date, the 12th, because it was the first day that Columbus had like, quote, found the so-called Americas. And so it felt like a meaningful date in terms of a date that holds a lot of meaning in terms of like imperialism, colonialism, violence. So we picked the date because of that. And then, yeah, just a few days before, it was go time, everything happened in Israel and Gaza. And I think that really just, really added like a different layer of like meaning and urgency to what we were doing.
I could absolutely
Well, it's definitely successful. It was definitely successful because we heard about it, and we're usually pretty plugged into stuff, and we heard about it from people that are not typically. We had people like friends of mine that aren't really into the whole abolition thing. They have good values and stuff, so I don't judge them, but I have a hyper focus on it. So so one of my friends who's like not very quote unquote political sent me, he's like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, shit. So good on you guys. It got out there. And it wasn't just to us abolition nerds. I shouldn't say
I wanted to know too, I'm sorry to interrupt, Spence, but I saw a number of you involved in the direct action. So I just for timeline. So you were there very early in the morning, and then you stayed pretty well into the evening. Did you stay in the evening time? Is that when a number of your members were arrested?
Well, actually, what had happened is we arrived there very early and folks locked down, and the police came, and I don't think they really knew what to do other than just direct traffic and keep the peace at that point. But interestingly, they just left everyone there. And I thought it kind of strange, but that's not unusual for that to happen when the people who are being affected don't want the messaging to get out. So the folks just stayed there until L3 Harris had some deliveries coming in, and they got rather pissed off that they were blocked at that point. And I believe they had some words with the police, and at that time they acted and started cutting people out and arresting folks and trying to get that other gate open. So I think that, but the other thing is that they didn't want to get any messaging out. I noticed that I tuned into the news at 11 that evening, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
And it was 22, and they had put out something, I believe, at 5, okay. But nothing at the 11 o'clock. And I found that very telling. I think that L3 does not want the messaging out. I can't imagine why, but I think it was effective on their part. But I've seen other actions go where people have been able to spend the night at places just because they don't want to get the messaging out. Very, very tricky.
Yeah. And we were there, we were locked in. They started making arrests maybe around 1:30 or so in the afternoon. And then, I don't know, maybe took them like around an hour in total to cut everybody out, because we were locked into metal and PVC lock boxes. And I think two other factors in terms of that timeline was, I think the state police were the ones who cut us out. And so I think them at the beginning being super friendly and being like, oh, like, we're not making any arrests, was also like, we actually can't arrest you because we don't have the tools. So we need to look like we're in control while we call the state police. And the other like word on the street is that the Northampton chief of police is in the middle of like applying for a higher level job elsewhere. And I really got the sense that they were on like bestest behavior, which in some ways was really nice. And I think I felt really lucky to live in an area where, like, even when the police suck, they don't suck in ways that like threaten bodily harm as often. It definitely like felt like they were very conscious of being friendly and polite, and yeah, which was a really interesting thing. Felt like there was a lot of dissonance there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. So they are also, there's been multiple calls for her resignation, Chief Jody Casper, in the last year. So they've had multiple, they're kind of on thin ice in a lot of ways. They got busted and yelled at by a judge for like, quote unquote, skirting the law in a DUI arrest. The judge said that in open court. So that just came out like last week or maybe. So the timing for all your action was actually like very serendipitous. An officer was found on dash cam to have like severely brutalized an elderly woman last spring. This is just for everybody at home. Just to remind them that even in Northampton, the progressive city where sometimes they do it right, there is an ulterior motive when they do it right, because it's about optics.
Yes.
Yeah,
So true.
You could tell.
Yeah.
And she is I'll give Chief Casper credit. It's not credit, but I will point out she's very polished. She's a good little fash. She's good at making it look good, and it's typical that she's going to be potentially climbing to another position. Fuck, she might be governor someday for all fucking we know.
Well, although it's uncharacteristic of the police, I'm also thankful that they didn't brutalize anyone in your team. That's great to hear. And I think Fergus's point on they shut it down quickly. That's why I asked the timeline, because there are other protests like where they may not, they may not get angry and let it go a little longer. But I think just because I heard you say there aren't news, it wasn't on the news at 11 and it wasn't on other news outlets. And I think that is very, very telling. But I do want to just point to the fact that we saw it in the shoestring reported. I did eventually see it on WWLP. And like Spencer said, a number of like-minded individuals and those that even maybe didn't know that L3 Harris existed reached out to us, let us know like, oh, look, this is happening. So I think what you did really made it a huge impact on the community in Western Mass during a time when I really think we all need to be, and I've thought this for a very long time, since I was 18 years old, and maybe younger, but I've always been someone who calling for peace. Why would we want weapons manufacturers in our beautiful state? Why would we want weapons of the scale that we have, nuclear weapons at all, the optics that the police are allowed? So I'm so thankful all of you came out of this okay, and I wonder what's next.
Yeah. There's a big rally happening this Wednesday, the 25th, that mostly other folks organize, which is like so exciting to see that.
That is exciting.
Yeah, and we're just kind of like getting to chip in. And so that's happening Wednesday afternoon, in conjunction with like the National Student Walkout in support of Palestine. It'll be like the walkout and then some amassing at L3 in a rally. And I think otherwise, we've had a handful of folks indicate that they're interested in joining DMIL. And so I think we're kind of at a moment of, we've like debriefed the action, and now kind of we're starting to have those conversations of like, okay, who's new in the room? Like, what are they bringing to this space? Where do we want to go next? And I think that, yeah, that's still, we're still at the beginning of that conversation. So I think it'll look like supporting a lot of the really great organizing that's happening right now, specifically around Palestine, plus, yeah, kind of figuring out what's right for us next. Fergus, does that sound right to you?
Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, I think the more people who are exposed to the horrors of what's going on, the better a chance that we have to change things. Because we certainly know that we need to change our ways.
Absolutely. We're glad that, it's always how heart fills your heart up with a little good feeling when you meet other people that have that same value. A lot of people call Joanna and I radical. The city council in Holyoke, I'm pretty sure hates my guts. And it does hurt, like, after a while, to like feel like you're the crazy person. But when you see other people like yourself understanding to get peace, like, how am I the crazy one? Like, how am I the aggressive one when I want no more bodies being exploded? Like, can't we figure it out? Don't we always talk about, like, democracy and like the Capitol building being the place where we go peacefully talk our things out? So like, why are we blowing people up? I don't understand. And then we're crazy. I don't know. But I just want to like also remind you guys that your values shine through, and that's awesome. So thank you for giving us time and sharing your story. And we want to help get the word out. So again, anybody listening at home, we're gonna www.theweedout.com. We'll have in our episode notes for this episode, we'll have all the ways to contact Demilitarize, any sort of literature, we'll link it all there. So if you missed it, or it's a lot to take in, just go to our website notes. I don't know. I'm just so overwhelmed with, like, it's a win. So you guys had a little win, and hopefully we can get more people eyes on it, like Fergus was just saying. So Joanna, do you have anything else to add or ask?
I just would encourage anyone in the audience to reach out to Demilitarize Western Mass. I like I said, I found them on Instagram. If you're following us, we'll link to them. But if this is something that you would want to be involved with, I think, or you're interested in learning more. Both these individuals are lovely, and I'm sure everyone in the group is, and I bet you they would love to talk to you about the issues going on in our backyard. They're shaking their heads when I say this, so please reach out. Because I think it's just the connections that we build, and like Fergus said too, like the more people that know, and the better chance we have of creating a new world and making all of the things we really all hope for potentially be the way that we live. So I'm just so thankful for your group, and I'm so thankful you took the time to come on and let our audience know about what's going on and how to get in touch with you.
Thank you so much. Can I read a famous quote by Dwight D. Eisenhower before we leave?
Absolutely.
Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger, are not fed, those who are cold, and are not clothed. This world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of its laborers, genius of its scientists, and hopes of its children.
That was from his farewell address at the end of his presidency, right?
I'm not sure if it was that famous quote, but it is one of his. Yeah.
Yeah, he
He's-
was
A good
he was
one.
post World War II, so the context when he was writing stuff like that was this is when the military industrial complex saw the profit in mass war machines.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've been in nothing but proxy wars and displacing people through using other people just what we've done to our Black and indigenous brothers and sisters here in the United States. The imperialism machine does to the rest of the world as well. And it's on us. We're inside the imperial core here. So, I recommend anybody listening, please reach out to whether it's Demilitarize Western Mass or any other sort of anybody that's doing action or something. I don't know. There's always a way. So we're just trying to bring people and platform folk. So thank you so much for coming on, and everybody listening, please check out their stuff. Your social media game is pretty good, especially the post from from the action on the 12th. So, and always feel free to reach out to us guys. Oh, if you need any help getting the word out about something, we'll be more than happy to do our part. So that's it for me. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Joanna, you want to take that?
Just thank you very much again. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the
And-
support.
You
Yeah,
got it,
and
and stay safe out there. And I will be following along.
Okay. Sweet.
Yes.
Y'all take care too.
Yes.
Thank you, Fergus. Thank you, Claire.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
I know.
Thank you so much for the organizers, everybody involved with Demilitarize Western Mass. Thank you all for letting us share your story, get the word out about your action and possible future action. And we're rooting for you. Thank you for bringing awareness to literally, it is the little things. This isn't like often these weapons aren't being made in a far off land. A bolt is being made here, a lens is being made here, and guns are being assembled over here. And this is in Western Mass, progressive Massachusetts. It's every state. So thank you to those organizers for just sticking by their values and wanting a better world without mass murder.
Yeah, and they put their bodies on the line. So, I mean, not everyone's able or willing to do that. And that's huge to bring awareness to this. Like you said, Spence, I want everyone to know there are weapons manufacturers, even in the beautiful Berkshires. GE is a huge, and there's some protests out there too. I think the awareness of what's happening and what's going on in the world, not only in Israel and Gaza, but in a number of places where, like Fergus said, it may not be on the news at 11. It may not be explained to us. And so the more we talk and the more we share information, I think is really important.
Absolutely. And that was kind of heavy, but also there was a win there. But also,
Absolutely.
I'm glad that the police didn't put their hands on people in an
Me too.
inappropriate way. But like, we also should not. That's
yeah,
what
that's like, yeah, like, and it like,
congratulations. Like,
and like,
congratulations. What you should. You didn't
and like,
you didn't assault somebody at your day job. Like that is the bar we have for police. Like they were so kind. They didn't even just beat the shit out of us. Like,
well, right.
That's actually a surprise in our America. So, and these guys are training with the IDF in Israel. So let's just remember what's going on here. Wow, dark. Like
it's
true.
bad. And those organizers knew that. Like Clara and Ferguson both said, or Fergus, excuse me, both said, honestly, the police and were only acting in a certain way because there were reasons for them to look good or whatever. And then the second that the corporation who has money told them to act and arrest people, they did with the help of MSP apparently. So you know, it's just sad when you know, like, okay, well, they're not brutalizing us. Like you said, this is the bare minimum of like, hopefully we don't get brutalized today.
We all know Northampton's got those cops are being told before every shift, no fuck ups, because
Yeah, right now, especially.
good. This is the important role of journalism. So shout out to all the people doing the work, digging through the police records, whether it's Jeff Raymond or Andrew Quamir, our buddies out east, or the people at the Shoestring, or Bill Shaner in Worcester, digging through the public records and finding out this information and getting it to light. That's what puts pressure on it. So then when there's a direct action that's inconveniencing the precious economy, they don't have a mulligan. They've already pissed off people in the town enough with their bad headlines, this last 6 months. So let's keep the pressure up. That's good. That this is all of a piece, and this is in every town. So weed out the bullshit, I guess. And just a reminder, all this stuff we talked about today, www.theweedout.com. Go to this episode, look under there. There'll be links to Demilitarize Western Mass. Same thing we do every week. So thank you all for listening. And, we're still going to do our Ghouler and Tomfoolery. I'm not signing off. Just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening, and tell your friends, share, find us on social media. Go to our link tree. All that information's there.
Watch us on YouTube.
Watch us on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
It's not super sexy because we don't, but hey, we're doing it on shoestring budget here. It's just Joanna and I at the Weed Out. We do have our road dogs that help us out on
We do. They're a pretty awesome team. Our street team is legit.
Yeah, like my
shout out to Caleb and Bridget.
And I count my our cat that we adopted last year, who's like kind of still doesn't really like humans. She hangs out with me while we do the show. So this is how I bond with her. She gets to listen to my voice for an hour or so.
Shout out to Mouse.
Yeah, Mousie's her name. She don't like nobody, and that makes me like her. So cats are weird, bizarre animals. And I think it's a good time to tell everybody that Joanna has 2 new kitty cats.
I do. I think I mentioned them on one of their episodes, like briefly. But I do have 2 baby cats. They're potentially 14 weeks old because they were abandoned and I rescued them and their sister. But I kept the brothers, and their sister is in a lovely home. And one is a black cat. So for Halloween, they're like the perfect Halloweeny cats because one is a black cat and one is an orange cat. So their names are Gramulon the Gremlin. That's my black boy. And my little orange kitty is Big Red. And he has many nicknames, but I won't bore all of you with them. But I can share a photo of them for the audience because I'm obsessed with them and I have a lot if anyone's interested. But yeah, I have 2 cats. I didn't think I would get cats. And then I learned about this thing online. I was like, 40 today years old type thing. I didn't know there was like a universal cat distribution system, Spence. That's what I keep saying. Because
all my cats.
Well, and Bridget was always like saying like she was, politely bullying me to get an animal, but I wasn't there yet. And then these guys found me. So they've given me a lot of love. I've had a lot of time and love with them.
That's why you can't trust people that don't like animals.
No, for sure. They're here now, but they're causing a ruckus. They're not behaving like Mousy.
I say that I don't expect everybody to like every animal. Like, yeah, I don't love little yippy dogs. I just don't. Like, they don't really interest me.
And I do.
I've had bad experiences with them. They're little yippy dogs. So like as a kid. So like I like bigger dogs, but that's just personal preference. But I still like give every animal a chance when I meet them.
Well, yeah.
Because most of them are cool, and who doesn't like fluffy shit? Like,
no, for sure.
You have a hole in your heart if you don't like fluffy, cute little things.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm thankful that I was able to rescue them, and I was able to not just foster them, but I was able, like Caleb and I were able to invite them to live with us because we're very happy they're here. And yeah, they're part of the street team, I guess, even though they don't come out with us. They're part of the team.
My kitty is on the I'm counting her on the producer. She's on the producer's couch as we speak.
I know.
So
She's behaving.
enough of and
Cat
comfortable
talk.
and comfortable small talk, commercial small talk. That's our cold open right there. Anyways, so we're gonna go to Googlelery and tomfoolery this week from the found this on Instagram from prisoners_legal_services. They shared part of a Boston Globe article, and then I read the article, but the original secondary source I found was, I feel like, giving them a shout more than the Boston Globe. So if you're curious about abolition legal work and prisoner representation, look up at prisoners_legal_services on Instagram. And they talk about Massachusetts abolition and helping people that are incarcerated. So they shared an article. The headline reads as, inmates on hunger strike at maximum security prison call on AG Campbell, Attorney General Campbell, to investigate alleged assault by correctional officers. Now, it bothers me right off the bat. I'm gonna do my ghoulery and tomfoolery as I go. So this is just my hot take as we go. It bothers me that they don't even fucking name the prison in the fucking headline. Right off the bat, that's an unfair headline. We should be I'd be able to identify on the headline alone where these
And they just call it maximum security prison, so they set the tone that like these are bad people.
Right. And it's like, what if we wanted to go protest outside this prison?
And
they're like, it's really a way to push down the information. So that's just like me as with my journalist 101 classes, things I'm noticing. So anyway,
and it paints that picture too, like this is a bad group of people too.
Right. So the meat of the article is as follows. Inmates at the state's maximum security prison in Lancaster submitted letters to Attorney General Andrea Campbell this week announcing a hunger strike and requesting an immediate investigation into one of the prison units where they alleged repeated assaults by correctional officers in conditions that amount to solitary confinement, which the state promised to eliminate 2 years ago. The letters to Campbell were mailed to her office Thursday by a member of the Boston College Law School Civil Rights Clinic, according to the clinic's director. Wow, my Boston accent came out there. Renee.
You slipped up. You slipped.
Parikh said that 4 of the 19 inmates who began the strike on October 6th were not eating as of Wednesday. They were pepper sprayed, people had black eyes, and for completely civil actions like explaining their concerns or asking to speak to his supervisor, Parikh said. So first of all, we have a a weed out tie. This happened at Sousa Correctional Facility in Lancaster, Massachusetts, and we had Tamik when he came in to speak about the No Longer 3/5 Coalition and voting rights. So at his prison, he referenced a lot of abuses that he witnessed for firsthand. So prisons are bad places, and that's why we must abolish them. This is fucking ghoulery. This is evil. This whole system has got to go like yesterday, and these people need reparations. I don't give a fuck what they did. We need to address the people that may have been hurt by whatever they did, if it was anybody that got hurt. A lot of people are in jail just because they can't fucking pay. And fuck this shit. Nobody should be treated this way, especially when you have no rights. They have no say. They can't walk away. And that's my take on this ghoulery and tomfoolery, Joanna.
So my take is the headline alone pointing out the maximum security prison. And just like I want the audience to remember, if you listen to our episode where we did talk to Tamik and Danielle from Decarcerate Massachusetts, Western Mass, Tamik is a community member. He's a person that I'm gonna have to check in on with. I'm gonna check with Danielle now and see if he's safe, because this makes me nervous about someone that I care about all of the people in that prison. but it's scary to think that there's someone we just may have interviewed that could be harmed. And he was telling the audience a lot of the injustices that occur in prison. For everyone in the audience too, like maximum security often holds a lot of people that have committed nonviolent crimes. Certain drug offenses put you there. It's not just a bunch of terrible people. My nephew was in maximum security prison. He's not a terrible person. And even if you were quote unquote a terrible person, I don't want you in this type of environment because you clearly need help and rehabilitation and maybe like medical care and all of these other things. So this just shows me in a very sad way another very clear example of why are we paying for these things with our tax dollars, hoping that we're kept safe. If there are people in the government who could make changes like the solitary confinement and other things like that, why haven't those changes been made? And I'm only asking that rhetorically. I know it's because they're not probably going to make them. And sometimes they just say things so that we all think that we've made maybe a reform or a step forward, when in reality, these systems are so violent. Like I'm hearing hunger strike, and I'm not surprised. The food alone could be torture in prison. So I just hope everyone there who is an incarcerated person is okay and that their family members aren't too upset or harmed by this, or their loved ones, because it's really upsetting.
Abolish prisons. That's it.
Yeah, abolish
And
prisons for sure.
and
I
you know
agree.
what? We need to have a truth and reconciliation with the people that are working in these correctional jobs.
Absolutely. I mean,
As a community, need to figure it the fuck out, because honestly, these people are bad fucking people. I said it. FBI agent Jim, if you're listening, like, yeah, they're bad fucking people. Lock me up for saying that. It's
well, and
fucking
I can share some research, and there was a study done like in the 70s before ethics boards like the one I work for existed. And it shows how quickly the power dynamic of the situation of prison um versus a guard can impact people. And I don't think this study would ever be able to happen today. And thankfully it was stopped really quickly because it just the systems we're using aren't working. They're designed to put someone in a power role where like they dehumanize others, and we're not helping anyone. And if we care about our community, like that quote that Fergus read, caging people, we always say this isn't the answer.
bombs and cages. I don't see how that's a solution for anything. It's like you can't. I don't care how angry you are. I don't care. You're talking to one of the. I'm one of the angriest motherfuckers. I am angry. I have an anger. I always have. Asked people that knew me when I was 7. Like there's something burning inside my stomach. I've been angry. And the reality is, I don't know what I was angry at back then, but at least if I'm going to be angry about something, be angry about something that is needlessly violent and just not a solution. It doesn't work. End of story. And I'm just gonna, it is Halloween, it is spooky season, and Joanna and I are recovering Christians, so we embrace spooky season. It's just to like make I'll speak for myself because I don't do Christmas, so this is like kind of the replacement for Christmas. This is the only thing I get. I don't even get that excited about it, but it's like it doesn't bother me. And only reason I like it really is probably because I know it bothers the extreme Christians. So, in honor of spooky season, we're gonna do a special hot take segment, Ghoulery and Tomfoolery, about local propaganda. It's that time of year again, like gets crisp, start smelling pumpkin spice and apple cider everywhere, and the leaves crunching underneath your feet. And you open your social media, and you get to see articles from Mass Live, or Boston 25 News in Boston reposting something from Mass Live. You know, this is all the way in Boston. Westfield, Mass. Westfield police are warning residents to inspect the candy they received at Pumpkin Fest. According to a post on Facebook, the police department received a report that citizens found a wrapped razor blade inside of a candy bar child collected at Westfield's Pumpkin Fest on Saturday. Quote, at this time, the Westfield police are unable to prove or disprove this allegation. End quote, police said in a post. And so this is something I was reported in Mass Live. It's a Facebook post. It got posted on Mass Live, which then got posted on WWLP News, then got reposted by like, you know, Laser 93 FM and just like every asshole Twitter being like, Candace doing the razor blade. Dude, every year. Fuck Elf on the Shelf. We're going to do there's fentanyl in your Skittles. You know, there's a razor blade in your apple. Like, dude, this thing, there's not, I'm sorry, has there been one documented case of this? Ever? It's always like police said somebody complained about this, but we didn't even bother investigating. It's like the amount to scare us. They're like, this is all they know how to do is just justify their fucking existence. Like, how is this helpful? Has this ever actually fucking happened? Why would drug dealers give away their drugs for free and not tell anybody? If you like that, you can come buy more for me. Like, why would it surprise? Like, none of it makes any sense. It's been Gen X people, how are you falling for this? We knew it was bullshit when we were kids. Like, to my best friend's older brother, who is 10 years older than us, like, he was like, oh, they're doing the razor blade story again. People like him are reposting this shit now. It's bananas. It's like something happens to you in America, like when you hit 40, if you've been indoctrinated enough, you actually believe, you know, fentanyl's bad because you found it in those kids' Skittles one year. Anyways, Joanna.
Well, I'm just saying, like, yeah, first of all, I wonder how often this happens or when it has actually happened. And it's like an example of like when we say the police can't like actually solve crimes, like they can't. They can't prove or disprove this. But then, like you said, it's so random. For like, so if my child goes to Pumpkin Fest to Westfield, we get a candy. I don't have a child. If I even took my cat to Pumpkin Fest, I get my cat a candy bar. I open the candy bar. He takes a bite. There's a razor blade. I'm sorry. I'm taking photos of it. I'm keeping the candy bar and the razor blade. I'm showing the police. I'm putting it on social media, alerting my friends. Don't eat the candy. So it's just really odd to me that this is just like a after the fact, like there's no proof at all and we don't know. And then beyond that, it's just kind of like you said, like, I don't know, like why would anyone run this story? Like someone found us Facebook posts and we're all just like, everyone please get off Facebook who does this. Is like share, reshare, we better be careful about the candy. Like don't let your kids trick or treat if you're like really that afraid of your neighbors. Where are you taking them? I don't know. So, and like you said, drug dealers are not giving away drugs for free. I want to look at
like, hey, here's your skills, but like also that other bag that costs money next time. But try that for free. You have to make it explicit, or else all of a sudden somebody's doped and they don't even know what house they got it from, so they can't just go like what, and they don't even know what drugs are from.
Well, and that's what parents are assuming is going to happen.
There's a salesperson point of view. It doesn't even make any sense.
No, but the parents are thinking what you thought, like they're just giving them candy and to drug them. And I will look up the data since I want to know. And I'll share it with this episode because I'm just kind of like, how often does this type of sick shit happen that they need to every year put it in the fucking news somehow? And also, like you said, everyone calm down, stop sharing each other's memes on Facebook.
Sharing about one kid at a Pumpkin Fest in Westfield, which I presume was mostly local people. I doubt anybody, like people, there's Pumpkin Fest in every town. There's no reason to go all the way to Westfield. It's not like some 150th annual thing. So I'm just saying, why is that being reposted in Boston? It's literally 100 miles away.
They're like, here's one example, so let's fearmonger off this one, guys. That's the shittiest part.
Right. And for people at home, be like, I can't believe media are so stupid. No, this is it's malice. They do this on purpose because profit motives align.
Well, and like scandalous stories align. So it's like, oh, candy that's been tainted. But I'm sorry, like I said,
Northampton put out a statement about like watch your kids' candy. It's like while they're also getting like, lots of stories about their malfeasance out in the news, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we checked candy bags for people. It's fucking not psyops, counterinsurgency.
it's just making you afraid of your neighbors, making you think you're not safe when you need them, and then they can't even in an age where everyone's like, I take pictures of everything all day. Like I would absolutely photograph, like I said, if my cat child had a candy bar with a razor blade in it. So an actual child, I would be like, nah, there's got to be evidence. Like what parent wouldn't be like, I'm photographing this for evidence, if nothing else? It's such a
Like, the
bullshit
worst part is
story. Like
so
such a
many
bullshit.
the source is a Facebook post from the Westfield police. That's the source material. And then they responded to media inquiry from their post. Like it's this like literally a snake eating its tail. There's a meme on Twitter that's like about like just somebody putting their mouth on a faucet and just turning it on full blast, and it says like police press releases, local journalists just chugging down the press releases fact. Anyways, so yeah, this happy Thanksgiving. Wow. Happy Halloween, everybody. You got a trick and a treat. The ghoulery this week was terrible, and the tomfoolery was terrible too. But at least it's funny that man, they still play the hits. They did the mash. They did the monster mash, like, right?
Right. It was a graveyard smash.
What's another like some Rocky Horror Picture Show songs? What else gets played around this time?
The Addams Family. The Addams Family.
It's as Halloween as that is cops making up fucking lies about people getting poisoned. And then it subliminally thinks you're like, oh, without the police, nobody would have warned me.
Yeah, it's like about a Facebook post that's like not like it's just an inconsequential Facebook post that we share as news in like major cities now.
Anyways, next up is some lie about us sharing a meal with Native Americans, us white people, and then after that it's the war on Christmas, Mariah Carey season.
Oh, I have that going all year. It's spelled with an X. It really upsets people on the evangelical left, or I mean, right, excuse me, on the far right, or evangelicals in general.
Yeah.
Probably charismatic Catholics. Oh yeah, if I put like Xmas, which I do, I just do write it that way. You've taken the Christ right out, and it just gets them.
I feel like I'm sneak attacking them because the war on Christmas is on right now for me. I already
starts now.
I heard a Christmas song a couple weeks ago.
Where?
Christmas ad. It was Amazon.
Oh, I've seen the ads too. I'm like, it's like shut
fucking
up.
October, man.
I know, like let me dress up like an evil ghoul first, or like something, and like let it snow. Yeah, I know. Everything's pushed ahead so much now because of like capitalism that it's insane.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes, trick or treat.
And we look forward to hearing from y'all next time. Feel free to reach out to us, asking any questions about any topics we've covered and how to get in touch with anybody. We're more than happy to do that. theweedout@gmail.com. Always go to our website, www.theweedout.com. Tell your friends about us. Please get the word out about the Weed Out. See you next time.
Take care.